You're listening to the Membership Geeks podcast, bringing you proven practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining me today for another episode of the Membership Geeks podcast. I am your membership geek, Mike Morrison, your host for the show. If this is your first time listening, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad that you've joined us, and hopefully you'll find today's episode so useful that you'll be hitting that subscribe or follow button in your podcast app, because I would hate if you missed a single episode of proven practical tips and advice for growing your membership business. If you're a long-time listener, you know I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for your support, for your reviews, for your feedback. Speaking of which, if you have just a minute of time, I would truly be grateful if you could leave a nice little shiny review with a nice little shiny 5 stars, preferably, assuming you feel I deserve 5 stars. Just letting me know your thoughts on the show, if it's been able to help you in any way, and any of the feedback you have. I'd be so appreciative. I read each and every single review. I appreciate each and every single review, and all that does is, as well as letting me know that I'm doing my job in helping the wider membership community, it also helps us reach more people, support more people, which is just good for all of us. So if you can leave a review, if you feel so inclined, I would be really grateful. And if you do, please do hit me up on social media. Give me a shout on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you do your socials, at Membership Geeks. So it's just at Membership Geeks on all the channels. And let me know that you've left a review so I can personally thank you and tell you how awesome you are for listening to the show and for showing your support. All right, let's talk launching. We all know how much work and time, how much blood, sweat, and tears goes into creating the membership site of your dreams and getting everything in place and everything ready to launch. And the nightmare scenario is that there's a little thing you've forgotten about, or the seemingly inconsequential step you haven't taken or you haven't checked, and then it all goes wrong during the launch itself. You've got the website perfect, it looks great, it functions well, you've got some great content in there to start off with, and a fantastic and exciting schedule for new and upcoming content in the months to come. You've got your marketing emails ready, you've got your affiliates good to go, your launch strategy is just phenomenal. But there's that one little thing nobody told you should have checked. And then you pull the trigger on the launch and, oh no, calamity. So today, after scaring any of you who are going through launching right now, sorry, this is like your recurring nightmare, right? I'm just feeding into that fear. But there are definitely some last minute checks that so many people overlook, which I would strongly recommend you take care of before you launch your membership site. These things can make or break a launch. So I'm going to cover the 4 most essential last minute checks, or rather the 4 last minute checks that will apply to almost everyone and that we constantly see people forgetting about. So, number 1, speak to your website host. If you are running your membership on a website you built yourself, rather than a platform like Kajabi or Simplero, if you're using WordPress, if you're building your own membership, you've got a web hosting account, make sure you tell your website host that you're going to be launching and what date and ideally what time you're going to be launching. Your launch promotion should, if it works well, it should result in an influx of traffic to your new membership website. So this will be unusual. This will be a spike. Before your launch, no one was visiting your website other than you, people on your team, maybe some affiliates, maybe some supporters, friends or family who checked it out. But other than that, nobody's been visiting your website. When you launch, your email goes out, you're going to have that influx of people. So it's worth informing your hosting company of this, just in case additional resources are needed in terms of your server's capacity, its memory, speed, broadband, all that sort of stuff are things that will generally be needed more when you have higher amounts of traffic. So it's worth informing your hosting company to check whether any extra resources are needed. Quite often they can allocate resources temporarily if they know there's going to be a traffic spike. But also, you want to ensure that this sudden spike in traffic isn't treated by your server as a problem. There's a particular type of cyber attack called a DDoS attack, distributed denial of service. And this basically involves a whole load of kind of bots and scripts basically directing just crazy amounts of traffic at one particular website with the aim of overloading the servers and taking the website offline. Now, typical memberships, typical day-to-day people running their online business, they're not going to be victims of DDoS attacks. These attacks are usually coordinated and targeted at high-profile websites, either to generate a ransom or to generate headlines to draw attention to something and stuff like that, often for political reasons and all that sort of stuff. So you're not usually going to be the target of a DDoS attack. However, they can happen. They can sometimes target smaller websites if the intention is to kind of almost, bring a bunch of smaller sites down in order to cause problems for the host. And so most website servers have mechanisms in place to detect and react to unexpected spikes in traffic that would happen with a DDoS attack. If your launch gets mistaken for a DDoS attack, that could cause problems. So this is why you need to speak to your website host to make sure that this sudden spike in traffic isn't treated by your server, your host's server, as a regular or as a problematic activity. So first and foremost, speak to your website host. Secondly, speak to your payment processor. Give a heads up to whatever service you're using for your payments. A PayPal or a Stripe account, which are the two things most commonly used for memberships, a PayPal or a Stripe account that's previously not had much use, suddenly receiving a lot of transactions might trigger security or fraud mechanisms. Again, a bit like your website server suddenly getting a whole load of traffic, your payment account that's previously had nothing suddenly getting an influx of money is probably going to raise some alarms if you haven't preempted it. So be sure to let your payment providers know in advance that you're launching a new product with a big promotion. Let them know that these will be subscriptions as well, because again, that might be something they need to put a little flag on your account to essentially preempt any problems that might arise, or they might need to actually come back and say, well, your account right now isn't set up for subscriptions, or there's a limit on those subscriptions. So you need to have these conversations, give a heads up to your payment processor if you're using PayPal or Stripe or something like that. And speaking of payments, the third essential check you need to do before your launch is to test your purchase process. Actually sign up to your membership yourself. It's incredible how many people don't do this. They look at the sales page looks great. They look at the checkout page looks great. Guess what they've not done? They've not tested whether clicking on the Buy Now button on the sales page actually takes you to that checkout page. You might be shaking your head in disbelief, but I've seen that happen more times than it really, really should. But of course, the most important part is ensuring that when you go to the checkout, you fill in your details, you put in your card details, and you click to sign up, that it actually works. That the payment gets taken, that members are then taken to a thank you page, a welcome page, that they are given access that they paid for. So they pay, they get into the membership, and they are put on the right level. That level grants them access to pages that otherwise would be hidden. Like, you need to test all of this. Test that the emails are triggered. Do a practice run of the joining process multiple times. If you've got multiple different membership levels, you want to be testing each of those separately. Don't just assume that because your monthly membership level works, that your annual one does, and vice versa. especially if you have a complicated setup. If you've got different tiers of your membership that grant access to different types of content, you need to be robustly testing this out yourself. Create dummy accounts or fake accounts that you can use to sign up just as a regular member would. Don't log into your admin account on your site and run through the process that way, because that is not replicating real world scenarios, right? Sign up using fake information, dummy information. You can use your credit card, your debit card, your PayPal account. And here's a little tip: create a coupon in your membership system that, when applied, will reduce the price of your membership down to like $1, so that you can test the payments actually work without having to put through hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of test signups yourself, right? Create that coupon so you've got no excuse not to robustly test each and every joining option. And don't just check that, the pages work all right. Check that the right membership levels are assigned, that the right access to the right content is actually granted within your membership. It's boring, it can be painstaking, but you don't want members to have these kind of issues, or to find that the purchase process doesn't work, or it falls down somewhere because you forgot to tick a box or you've applied a setting incorrectly, because that could be disastrous for your launch. So make sure you are testing the purchase process multiple times robustly before you push the button and you have real world customers using that process and joining. And then the final essential last minute check that I'm going to talk about today is to make sure you check in on world events. It's so easy to become all consumed with the work that you've been doing to get your new membership ready to launch, that as a result, you lose track of what's going on in the world. But it's worth taking a beat and checking in on what's happening outside of your bubble, just to ensure that you don't mistime your big launch or put your foot in it with your messaging. Now, that's not to say that you've got to wait until a day where absolutely nothing bad has happened in the world. You'll be waiting a long time for that. But there are definitely big events, either major international ones or even ones that are just specific to your industry or topic, where coming out and making a whole load of noise about your membership launch might be tone deaf. So just make sure you take stock of anything that's going on in the world that might make things sticky for your launch. It's better to push things back by a week and not run into unfortunate roadblocks and potentially negative feedback and backlash because, it's a somber day across the world and you're there saying, hey everyone, why not join my membership? Right? You don't want to be the guy in the clown suit who turns up to a funeral. So make sure you're checking in on world events before you launch. Now, these aren't the only last minute checks you should be conducting before you open the doors to your membership. But if you only do these 4 things, it's going to give you a much better experience, a much smoother launch, and avoid some of the more common problems that can cause disaster when people are first opening the doors to their membership. However, I want to make sure that things go as smoothly as they possibly can do for you. I want to make sure you've got all your bases covered. So if you head across to membershipgeeks.com/launch, that's membershipgeeks.com/launch, then you'll be able to download the free pre-launch checklist that I put together that will ensure your membership launch goes off not only without a hitch, but with unprecedented levels of success and good feels and happy vibes and all that good stuff. There are 20 key things that you should be checking before you launch your membership. I've talked about 4 of them today. If you want to find out what else you should be making sure you've locked down, you've tested, you've got in place, you've thought about, you've prepared before you launch, you need the pre-launch checklist for your membership. It is absolutely free. Head over to membershipgeeks.com/launch in order to get your hands on that pre-launch checklist and ensure that everything goes off without a hitch, whether you're launching your membership for the very first time or if you've got a closed door model and you're about to open the doors and do a big enrollment promotion. Get this checklist, membershipgeeks.com/launch. Trust me, you're going to want to make sure you've got all these boxes ticked. All right, that is it from me for this week. I do hope you found this useful, especially if you're building your way up to a launch. If you have found this episode helpful, I'd love to hear from you on social. Hit me up at Membership Geeks across every channel. Let me know you've listened, or if you know someone who's working on a membership launch right now, share this episode with them. It could be the difference between disaster and phenomenal launch success. All right, that is it. I'm out of here. Thanks so much as ever for joining me today. I'll be back again very soon with another episode of the Membership Geeks podcast. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Membership Geeks podcast, we invite you to check out membershipacademy.com. Membership Academy is the original membership about memberships, and it's the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a successful online membership business. Whether you're still trying to figure out what your idea is going to be and you need some help making it a reality, or whether your website is already up and running and you're looking for ways to grow and attract new members, then Membership Academy can help you to get to the next level. Not only do you get access to our step-by-step membership roadmap, our extensive training library, and exclusive member-only discount and tools, you'll also become part of our supportive, active community of membership owners that will help you along the way in your journey with feedback, encouragement, and advice. All of this and more make Membership Academy the #1 place to be for anyone looking to start, manage, and grow a successful membership business. Check it out and join the community at membershipacademy.com.